So, Barrister Mbeseha, before we get back into the wonderful recognition of that global star there from Fako County, Limbe precisely, we'll take a look at these last reports we just saw. Dion Ngute condemning the same government he was part of, looking at him throwing the rest of the leadership he worked with under the bus. Do you think the Prime Minister's criticism of former ministers and even Paul Biya could be interpreted as a sign of internal division or weakening loyalty within the ruling establishment? And if so, how do such remarks from the Prime Minister reflect on the credibility of Yaoundé's governance system, especially from the Amazonian perspective that questions its legitimacy in southern Cameroons?
What Dion Ngute said is none of what you have suggested. But let us take off from what he is. The elections, and I was talking now because there are elections going on. In Cameroon, the elections are a 7-year cycle. What is going on now in Cameroon, that also includes part of Amazonia, is an evaluation of the last 7 years. The last 7 years of Biya, Dion Ngute's administration. What do they reflect? They are a total failure. Dion Ngute is the head of government. And so if his government ministers under him are not working, if they have not delivered, who is to be blamed for that for 7 years? It's the C. Because if you had any means to evaluate them and they don't deliver, you should have fired them. What is the success of Dion Ngute for the past 7 years when he was made prime minister? From east to west, from north to south, nothing. It is not you and me saying it. Their records are there being criticized and put out on the internet and the public for everybody to see. Dion Ngute, if he has no records ever to be reckoned with, they are records of total failure. They are records of incompetence. Why? Why, one must ask. How and why did this intellectual, a man with a PhD degree in law, a man with so-called experience in foreign affairs, because he was attached to the foreign ministry, how and why did he fail so woefully? Can he have any defense at all? As the prime minister, zero. As an individual, even back to his own community called the Amazonia or Southern Cameroon, zero to show for his presence in government. And if we can only refer, you have said that he's one of us, if we can only refer to his records as an Amazonian and evaluate him on a few items, that would justify why we conclude that he's not worth even mentioning in history. He will mention in history as a disaster, a sign of total failure, a sign of complete incompetence, politically, intellectually, and otherwise. And these are the examples. Before he became prime minister, he was working somewhere in the government. As far as Amazonia is concerned, I've said this before, this is Dion Ngute, who went to the African Commission in Banjul. And this issue that is now war came up. Dion Ngute was the one to say this Amazonia, they call it SCNC at the time, that they are terrorists. That was Dion Ngute, one of them. SCNC stood for Southern Cameroon National Council. He was a Southern Cameroonian. And he described these people before a court, a rare court, that they were terrorists. The Ambazonian people did not even reply. SCNC didn't give an answer. It is a court who asked him, where do rebels, where do terrorists go to court? They are now before the court, and you call them terrorists. You are just wrong. Back again to Amazonia and for the records of Mr. Dion Ngute. His first mission when he became prime minister, and we're told, I don't know how far it is, he was put there to solve the Anglophone problem. He came in 2018. His father, political maker, Mr. Paul Biya, convened the Grand National Dialogue and gave it to him to chair and run. What was the purpose of the Grand National Dialogue? It was to find solutions to the so-called Anglophone problem. He convened it. He chaired it. What has it produced? For 7 years, he has produced nothing. The Grand National Dialogue, all of us agree, even with him, that it was a total failure. Why and how? In that thing, they purportedly put up something disarmament. Has he succeeded? Can he say that it has succeeded? It has not. If he has succeeded, we will not be hearing of the bombing in the cock right now. If it has succeeded, the boys and boys in the bushes would have disarmed. The war would have ended. They put under that the program reconstruction. Has reconstruction succeeded? Just in the northwest and southwest? No, nothing. All the roads are the same. They have gone from bad to worse. They have gone from passable to become totally impassable. Under who? Under the prime ministership of Mr. Dion Ngute. And so, what is he talking about? This is Dion Ngute, who has visited Bamida so many times. The last time was just 2 months ago, to inaugurate a road that was failing right before his own eyes. Who stood there and announced the way that they were trying to construct an urban crossing. Where is the urban crossing today? Nothing is to be found. That's John Ngute. Before that, a week or 2 months before that, he came to Bamenda, went to Kumba and promised a gas bottling station. Where is the gas bottling station that Mr. Dion Ngute promised? Zero to show for it. And so this is a catalog of failures. Catalog of failures. And so this guy is a failure as an individual. He's a disaster as a head of government. And so he has no records to show. He has absolutely nothing to show for his being there other than failure. And so I think historians, because history has its own place, historians are documenting his activities. They are documenting the work that his government did. They are documenting their own failures. There comes a time when honest people agree that they went wrong, that they were mistaken. When proud people resign, when they agree that they have failed. This is what we expect of Dion Ngute, not the idea of going through the gymnastics and lying shamelessly to himself. He blames his own ministers that they are supposed to have been appointed by him, because by their text, he nominates his own ministers. His own ministers are responsible before him. If they have not delivered, he should have resigned collectively with his government. And now he agrees they have not delivered. He's blaming them for the failure of it. Government action is jointly liable. If as a government you promise to build schools, you don't build the schools, you promise to dig roads, you don't dig the roads, your government resigned. The government resigned by the leader himself stepping down with his whole team called government. If he doesn't know this with his PhD in law, if he doesn't know this with decades in administration, then he must be deceiving himself. This is Dion Ngute, who told us publicly not 2 months, 3 months ago that Sonora cannot be closed, that there will not be anything in Kribi. This is audio, video taped. And the next 2 days he was in Kribi. They were in Kribi putting up a better refinery, an improved refinery. What else can cause Dion Ngute ever to resign? He has grown pale. He's grown old in office because of the problems that are on top of his head. But he's not able to resign. He's unable to say no. He ceased to be a man. He's a spineless individual. In his position of the long since resigned. Excuses are not welcome from him. The only excuse he can give is that I was unable to do it, I've left. If he's not doing this, this is a man that should be thrown into the trash. Should be dumped and buried politically and in anything that we can ever say in public life. It's a failure. His government has been a disaster. Just 7 years. We don't want to go to 40 years of Paul Biya's role. Just his last 7 years have been the worst of it. This is under him that will find the so-called green core. Money is stolen day and night publicly. And he says nothing. This is under him. That was the COVID-19 report officially handed to him by his own institutions. The thieves are still sitting there in that government with him. He cannot fire them. I think it's shameful. This man is so shameless. This man is so spineless to hold any public office. If I were in a position to, unfortunately I'm not, you will be in jail. I'm probably in jail for life. Over to you.